The great station of Lumeris floated above a dying blue star. The star gave off a cold light that made the metal walls shine like ice. Ships from many worlds circled the station in slow lines. They came from far systems, from red deserts and water planets, from cities built in clouds and cities carved under stone. All of them came for one reason. Princess Lyra Varelia stood alone in the center of the high chamber. Her silver robes touched the smooth floor. A faint mark glowed on her forehead. It was shaped like a circle with fine lines through it, but the circle was cracked. The light inside the crack was unsteady. It flickered like a weak flame in the wind. Among her people, that mark was sacred. It was called the Royal Seal. It was placed on every true heir to the throne. It protected the mind. It showed strength. It proved that the royal bloodline was pure and unbroken. But Lyra's seal was not whole. It had shattered 3 months ago. Since that day, everything had changed. The high chamber was full. Tall beings with glass-like skin stood beside short figures covered in dark fur. Some floated above the floor, some moved on metal limbs. They watched her with many kinds of eyes. Most of those eyes held doubt. At the far end of the chamber stood Admiral Torv, the commander of the Galactic Union fleet. His armor was dark and sharp at the edges. His face showed no emotion as he looked at the gathered leaders. "The matter before us is clear," Torv said in a calm voice that echoed through hidden speakers. "The Varelian Empire requests alliance and protection, but their heir carries a broken seal. This condition raises concern for the safety of all member systems." A low murmur spread through the chamber. Lyra kept her head high. She had trained since childhood to show no weakness in public, but inside, her thoughts were heavy. Near the edge of the chamber stood her younger brother, Rin. He was only 16 cycles old. His fists were tight at his sides. He wanted to shout at them all. He wanted to demand respect for his sister, but he stayed silent. Beside him stood Captain Sora, commander of the Varelian Royal Guard. Her dark armor reflected the cold blue light of the star outside. Her eyes moved slowly across the room, watching every small motion. Ambassador Kelmine, of the Tryon Combine, stepped forward. His long neck bent slightly as he spoke. "Our scans confirm unstable energy from the broken seal," Keln said. "We cannot risk a hidden infection or outside control. The Tryon Combine will not enter alliance with uncertainty." Several other leaders nodded. Lady Vexa of the Aran Council lifted her thin hand. "Tradition matters," she said. "If the seal is broken, then the line is broken. We will not tie our future to weakness." The words felt like sharp stones thrown at Lyra's chest. She did not speak. 3 months earlier, during peace talks with a border faction, a sudden pulse of light had filled the sky above Varelia's capital. Lyra had been standing on the balcony of the palace when the pulse struck her. She remembered the burning pain in her mind. She remembered falling. When she woke, the seal was cracked. Many priests claimed it was a curse. Some generals whispered that enemies had found a way to damage royal energy. No one knew the truth. But fear grew faster than answers. Varelia was already weak from trade losses and pirate attacks. Without support from the Union, their outer colonies would fall within a year. Lyra understood this. That was why she stood in the high chamber now. Admiral Torv turned slightly toward her. "Princess Lyra, do you wish to respond?" All eyes focused on her. She felt the broken seal pulse softly, as if it reacted to the pressure in the room. "The Varelian Empire has stood with the Union for 200 cycles," she said in a steady voice. "We have given ships. We have given soldiers. We have given knowledge. The attack on my seal was not chosen. It was done to us." She paused. "If fear is stronger than history, then say so clearly." Silence followed her words. Some leaders looked uncomfortable. Others remained cold. Before Admiral Torv could speak again, the chamber doors opened with a low sound. Several heads turned. A late arrival walked in. He was human. Humans were still new to the Galactic Union. They had joined only 12 cycles ago. Their territory was small compared to ancient empires. Their ships were strong but simple. Many older species saw them as emotional and unpredictable. The human wore a dark formal coat with a silver emblem on the chest. His hair was short and dark brown. His steps were calm and measured. Behind him followed 2 human guards, but they stayed near the door. The human bowed his head slightly toward Admiral Torv. "Apologies for the delay," he said. "Human envoy Elias Grant, requesting permission to speak." A few quiet sounds of surprise moved through the chamber. Admiral Torv studied him. "The Union recognizes the human delegation. You may speak briefly." Elias stepped forward. In his hands he carried a simple wooden box. It looked plain compared to the glowing devices and crystal cases held by other species. He stopped a short distance from Lyra. For a moment, he simply looked at her, not at the broken seal. At her. Lyra noticed that his eyes did not show fear. He turned toward the assembly. Humanity has listened carefully, Elias said. We hear words like unstable, broken, unsafe. On Earth, we also know these words well. Ambassador Kell made a small sound of impatience. Elias opened the wooden box. Inside was a small plant growing in dark soil. Its leaves were thin and silver-green. A faint golden light moved along its veins. Several science officers leaned forward. This is called a memory bloom, Elias explained. It grows only in certain places on Earth. It reacts to strong emotional energy. It weakens in the presence of corruption or hostile control. Bexa frowned. And why bring a plant to a political assembly? Elias closed the lid halfway but not fully. "'Cause sometimes simple life forms tell the truth better than machines," he said. He walked the last few steps toward Lyra. Captain Sora's hand moved near her weapon, but Lyra gave a slight shake of her head. Elias stopped in front of the princess. "With your permission," he said softly. Lyra hesitated only for a second. "He may proceed." He lifted the plant carefully from the box and held it between them. For a moment nothing happened. The chamber was silent. Then the golden light inside the leaves began to glow brighter. Soft threads of light reached outward, like tiny lines searching the air. A quiet sound moved through the hall. The plant's glow increased as it came closer to Lyra's face. The cracked seal on her forehead flickered in response. Bright? Instead of fading, the plant grew brighter still. Scholar Ivar from the Union Science Corps stepped forward quickly with a scanning device. He aimed it at the plant and at Lyra. Numbers appeared in the air above his tool. "Energy levels are rising," Ivar said in surprise. "But not in a hostile pattern. The frequencies are stabilizing each other." Admiral Torv narrowed his eyes. "Explain." Ivar adjusted his device. "If the seal were corrupted or controlled by an outside force, this plant would show decay. Instead, it is responding positively. The princess's energy is unstable, yes, but not infected. Not overridden." Murmurs grew louder. Ambassador Keln stepped back slightly. Lady Vexa looked uncertain. Lyra felt warmth spread from her forehead down her neck. The broken lines in her seal glowed softer, less wild. She looked at Elias. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly. Elias lowered the plant a little, but kept it close. "Because humans know what it means to be judged by fear," he said. "When we first reached the stars, many called us dangerous, emotional, too divided. Some refused to trade with us, some warned others to stay away." He gave a small, calm smile. "We survived anyway. And we learned something important. Broken does not mean useless. Damage does not mean evil." The chamber grew still again. "Humanity offers formal alliance to Varelia," Elias continued, "not because we ignore risk, but because evidence does not support the claims against her. And because we believe strength is not the absence of scars." The words hung in the air. Admiral Torv folded his hands behind his back. "You understand," he said slowly, "that such an alliance may place your species in conflict with those who oppose your claim." "We understand," Elias replied. Ryan stared at the human in disbelief. No one had spoken so clearly in their favor since the attack. Captain Sora watched the room carefully. She noticed something else. Near the back of the chamber, a tall figure in dark gray armor stood very still. His name was Commander Drake, leader of a security faction within the Union. His eyes did not show surprise like the others. They showed calculation. Drake leaned slightly toward one of his officers and whispered something. Sora did not like the look on his face. In the center of the chamber, the memory bloom continued to glow warmly in Lyra's presence. For the first time in months, she felt something other than shame. She felt seen. But the room was far from united. Ambassador Kelm straightened himself. "A plant's reaction is not enough to change long-held law," he argued. "Tradition exists for a reason. Tradition should protect the future," Elias answered calmly. "Not choke it." The tension in the chamber rose again. Admiral Torv raised his hand for silence. "The Union will review this new evidence," he said. "Until then, no final judgment will be made." It was not acceptance, but it was not rejection. Lyra knew that this small pause in judgment had been created by a single human stepping forward. Outside the wide windows, the dying blue star flickered weakly. Inside, something small but powerful had begun to change. As the assembly prepared to recess, Commander Drake quietly activated a hidden communicator in his sleeve. "Phase 1 has shifted," he whispered. Prepare secondary action. Across the chamber, Captain Sora felt a sudden chill without knowing why. The plant in Lyra's hands glowed steady and bright, and far above the station, in the dark space beyond the watching ships, an unknown signal pulsed once. No one in the chamber noticed it. Not yet. The chambers of the Lumera station had emptied, but the tension lingered like a thick fog. Princess Lyra walked slowly down the long corridor, with Elias by her side. The memory bloom rested gently in her hands, still glowing softly. The light reflected off the metallic walls, creating golden streaks that seemed almost alive. Ryan followed closely, his steps quick and uneven. "I can't believe a human actually did that," he whispered. "No one else even tried." Captain Sora walked behind them, scanning each corner, her hand never far from her weapon. "This is only the beginning," she said in a low voice. "There are those who will see this as a threat, not an opportunity." Lyra nodded, her thoughts heavy. She had felt hope for the first time in cycles, but she knew it could vanish quickly. The memory bloom was a fragile thing, yet it had revealed something important. She was not corrupted. Her energy was unstable, but it was hers, and it could be controlled. They reached the observation deck overlooking the star. The dying blue star cast pale reflections over the station's glass walls. Elias set the plant carefully on a small table. "It's beautiful," Lyra said softly. Elias smiled. "It grows in response to trust, not force. Not fear, just trust." Ryan frowned. "Trust won't stop people from trying to kill us. They already tried." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "We have allies now. At least one. And allies can make a difference." Elias leaned forward, studying her closely. "There is more to your seal than anyone understands. Your crack is not just damage. It is a sign of resistance. A sign that someone tried to control you and failed. The energy inside you, it is stronger than before." Lyra blinked. "Stronger? But I can't feel it yet. It's unpredictable." "Unpredictable is the start of power," Elias said quietly. "You have to learn to guide it." Ryan paced the deck. "And what about them? The Council? Admiral Torv? Drake? They won't sit quietly. Not with a human helping you. They will see it as a threat." Sora's eyes narrowed. "They already are. Drake will not rest. He believes the broken seal is dangerous, even if he knows nothing about it. We need to be ready." Lyra placed her hand on the plant, feeling its warmth. It pulsed lightly, almost like a heartbeat. She understood then that this small gift was not just a symbol. It was a tool. It was proof that she was not alone. Proof that someone believed in her. Suddenly, the deck security system beeped. Red lights flashed along the walls. Captain Sora grabbed Lyra's arm and pulled her toward the nearest safe room. "What is it?" Lyra asked, her voice sharp. "Energy spikes near the core sectors. Someone is trying to access restricted systems," Sora said. "We are not alone." Rin looked at Elias. "You said humans were allies. Are you prepared for this?" Elias nodded, reaching for a small device at his belt. "We came prepared, but be ready for anything." The deck doors hissed and closed as security shutters sealed the observation area. Outside, alarms rang across the station. The red glow reflected on the memory bloom, making it shine brighter. Lyra knelt beside it. "Stay calm. We can't panic." Sora scanned the corridor with her sensors. There are unidentified soldiers moving in through maintenance shafts. They are masked and heavily armed. This is not a random breach. Rin swallowed hard. "Who would attack us here?" "We are inside the Union. They are supposed to protect us." Elias's face darkened. "Some factions believe the broken seal is a danger to the galaxy. They don't care about the Union's laws or your survival. They want control, or they want you gone." Lyra clenched her fists. "They will not succeed." Sora's voice was calm but firm. "We need to hold the line until help arrives. Stay together. Move only when I say." From the maintenance shafts, heavy footsteps echoed. Shadows flitted across the walls. The human guards moved swiftly to strategic points, blocking potential entry paths. Elias whispered to Lyra, "Focus on the light. The plant will guide your energy. Feel its rhythm. Let it flow through the cracks in your seal." Lyra took a deep breath and concentrated. The golden light of the bloom pulsed stronger in response. She felt warmth spreading from the plant to her forehead. The cracked lines on her seal flickered in rhythm with the light. It was subtle, but it was working. A figure appeared in the doorway, masked, armored, and moving with precision. It was one of the attackers. Sora stepped forward, weapon ready, and held her ground. The human guards flanked the doorway, preparing to intercept. The attacker froze for a moment, seemingly measuring their opponent. Then they lunged forward. Sora met them head-on. The sound of energy blades clashing filled the chamber. Sparks flew. Lyra instinctively held the memory bloom higher, letting its light bathe the room. The attacker faltered slightly under the brightness. Elias activated a device that emitted a low-frequency pulse. The attacker stumbled, and Sora used the moment to disarm them. The masked soldier fell to the floor unconscious. Ryan let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. That was close. Lyra looked at the fallen attacker and felt no fear. She felt understanding. Why are they so afraid of me? Elias shook his head. Because they do not understand what you are. You are not broken. You are evolving. And fear always fights evolution. More figures moved in through hidden corridors. The team took defensive positions. Each time the memory bloom pulsed brighter as Lyra focused. Energy from her seal responded. The golden cracks glowed steadily now, reflecting the flow from the plant. Sora's voice cut through the tension. They are not just testing us. They are searching for something specific. Lyra frowned. What could they want from me? Elias's eyes narrowed. Control. Knowledge. Or maybe to force your seal to open fully. They think it is a weapon, the thought chilled her. She had always known the seal was powerful, but she had never imagined someone trying to force it. Ryan stepped closer. Then we won't let them. Sora nodded. Exactly. Hold your ground. Protect the princess. Hours passed like minutes. Every time the attackers tried to breach a section, the combined efforts of Varelian guards, human soldiers, and the guidance of the memory bloom repelled them. Each confrontation tested Lyra's focus and control. During a brief lull, Elias turned to her. Your seal will stabilize if you trust yourself. Not just the plant. Not just us. You. Lyra closed her eyes. She felt the cracks in her forehead, like tiny rivers of energy. She reached inside herself, reaching for the warmth the plant had given. She imagined golden lines spreading outward, filling the gaps. The light of the memory bloom intertwined with her seal. Energy hummed in the air, vibrating softly. The attacker's sensors picked it up, and they hesitated at every attempt to advance. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the alarm stopped. The station returned to its normal security protocols. The remaining intruders had retreated, leaving only debris and the echoes of conflict. Lyra stood, feeling a new confidence. Her seal no longer felt like broken glass. It felt like tempered gold. She looked at the memory bloom and smiled softly. We did it, Ryan said, barely believing it. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. This is only the first step. Others will come. But you now know what you are capable of. Sora lowered her weapon. And we know what we are capable of protecting. For the first time in months, Lyra allowed herself to hope. The broken seal was no longer just a mark of shame. It was a sign of resilience. And with allies like Elias, humans willing to risk everything for her, she knew the journey ahead could be faced with courage. Outside, the dying star flickered and cast long shadows across the station. Inside, a small plant glowed steadily on a simple table, a reminder that even fragile things could make the strongest difference. Days passed on Lumerous Station. The memory bloom continued to glow softly in Lyra's quarters, casting gentle golden light over the metal walls. She often sat beside it, watching the patterns of energy ripple through its leaves, feeling the warmth reach her cracked seal. Despite the small victory, Lyra could not forget the attack. Masked soldiers had moved with precision, showing that someone powerful wanted her sealed energy for their own plans. Every shadow, every flicker of light seemed to carry hidden danger. Captain Sora had increased security around the station. Varelian guards patrolled every corridor, and human soldiers from Elias's team kept watch at key points. But Lyra sensed more than physical threats. There was a tension in the air, subtle and persistent, as though the station itself was holding its breath. Elias spent hours analyzing the memory bloom. He had devices from Earth that could measure subtle energy fields, and he compared them with readings from Lyra's seal. The numbers fascinated him. They showed energy spikes that were unusual, powerful, and unstable, but not harmful. They reacted to Lyra's emotions, her concentration, and even her fears. Your seal is unique, Elias said one evening, his eyes scanning the readings. It is not broken. It is just altered. What happened to you has changed its pattern, but it has not destroyed it. It has given it potential that others cannot understand yet. Lyra looked down at her hands. Potential. But I do not control it. Every day it feels like it could break again, like it could hurt someone unintentionally. Elias shook his head. You have more control than you think. But control comes from trust. Trust in yourself, and trust in the one standing beside you. Ryan, watching from the corner of the room, crossed his arms. Trust will not stop Drake. He will send others. He thinks you are dangerous. Sora nodded. He is patient and careful. He will not attack openly, but he will look for weaknesses. We have to assume every day brings a new threat. The very next night, their fears proved correct. Alarms echoed through the station. Red lights flashed along the hallways. Sensors detected unauthorized movement near the core sectors again. It was different this time. The intruders were not random soldiers. They moved like shadows, silent and coordinated, as if they knew the layout intimately. Lyra, Elias, Ryan, and Sora gathered quickly in the observation deck. The memory bloom glowed with a gentle golden pulse. Its light seemed to respond to Lyra's heartbeat, to the rapid pace of her thoughts. Elias whispered, "They are testing us." Looking for a way in. Sora raised her weapon. "Hold your ground. Let them come. We will see what they truly want." Through the corridors, the intruders advanced. Their masks reflected the blue light of the star, making them look almost ghostly. The human guards and Varelian soldiers positioned themselves strategically, waiting. Suddenly, one intruder appeared at the far end of the deck. Sora's eyes narrowed. She recognized the energy signature immediately. It was not just physical skill. This intruder carried a device capable of reading and influencing energy fields. They were trying to connect with Lyra's seal. Elias stepped forward. "We cannot let them reach her. The seal is unstable. If they link to it, they could manipulate it." Lyra felt a surge of energy from the seal. The cracks on her forehead pulsed, responding to the intruder's device. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, but she focused on the golden light of the bloom. The warmth spread through her mind and body, calming the unstable patterns. The intruder lunged. Sora moved with precision, blocking the attack with her blade. Sparks flew as the energy device collided with her shield. The golden light from the memory bloom expanded, bathing the corridor in protective warmth. Ryan felt his own courage rise. He picked up a small energy baton from the security station and joined the defense. Together, they pushed the intruder back, but more were coming. Shadows moved along the walls, slipping through maintenance shafts, testing each defense point. Lyra closed her eyes and focused. She let the energy from the plant flow into her seal. Golden lines spread from the cracks, intertwining with her natural energy. She felt a connection not only to the bloom, but to her own potential. The instability began to calm. Each pulse became controlled, precise, and guided by her will. Elias whispered instructions, guiding her energy like a teacher leading a student through a complex dance. Visualize the flow. Let it follow the path you want. Do not resist it, but do not let it act without your command. The intruders faltered, their device unable to read or influence the seal. Their attack slowed. Captain Sora and the human guards pressed forward, driving them back into the shadows. One by one, the masked figures retreated, leaving behind their devices and tools. Lyra opened her eyes. The glow on her forehead had become steady, strong, golden, and warm. The memory bloom pulsed in harmony with her heartbeat, a quiet reminder of her strength. Ryan let out a long breath. "They won't try that again, will they?" Sora shook her head. "They may try different tactics, but this first defense shows they underestimated you. Your power is real, and they fear it." Lyra looked at Elias. "Thank you for believing in me, for standing forward when no one else would." Elias smiled. "You did the work. I only helped guide it. You are stronger than you know. Remember that." The next day, the station buzzed with reports. Security logs showed anomalies in the core sectors, devices left behind by the attackers, and unexplained energy readings. Scholar Ivar and Admiral Torv reviewed the data, slowly realizing that the Human Alliance and Lyra's controlled seal had prevented what could have been a disaster.
Admiral Torb spoke to Lyra privately.
"Your seal, it is extraordinary, and your control of it, even after the attack, is commendable. The Council will need to reassess its previous judgments." Lyra nodded. "It is not just me. Elias and the humans, they showed that we are not alone. That trust can create strength." Ryan trained with the human cadets, learning new tactics and strategies. Captain Sora prepared patrols for every possible route of attack. Every day brought new lessons, and every day Lyra's confidence grew. But somewhere deep in the shadows of the station, Commander Drake observed silently. His mind was sharp, calculating the failures of his previous attempts. He had seen the seal in action and the bloom's influence, yet, instead of discouragement, He felt curiosity. This human and this princess had disrupted his carefully laid plans. He would need another approach, something subtle, something unseen. Lyra felt the tension in the air, a reminder that the calm was temporary. Yet as she sat by the memory bloom watching its golden light ripple, she realized something important. She had the ability to guide her own energy. She had allies willing to fight for her. And she had hope. The day had begun with fear, uncertainty, and rejection. But it ended with understanding, strength, and a small but undeniable victory. The galaxy was not yet safe, and danger still lingered. But Lyra, the broken-sealed princess, no longer felt helpless. The first step had been taken, and the journey ahead was hers to command. With the golden light of the memory bloom as her guide, she would face what was coming, stronger than ever before. The morning on Lumerus Station began with a quiet hum. The star outside still burned weakly, casting its blue light across the metallic halls. The memory bloom in Lyra's quarters pulsed softly, as if breathing with her. Today, however, was not going to be peaceful. Elias stood beside her, scanning incoming messages and readings from the station. Human technology had been set up alongside Varelian systems to detect any anomaly. The attack from the previous night had left traces. There was no doubt in his mind. Someone was preparing for another move. Captain Sora came in, her face serious. "We have new reports. Sensors detected unusual activity in the lower core sectors. The pattern matches the previous attack but seems more organized. They are not random. They are searching for something specific." Lyra took a deep breath. "Then we have to be ready." Ryan was pacing near the window. "Do you think Drake is behind this?" Elias nodded. "It is likely. He believes the broken seal is dangerous. He wants to harness it or remove it. This next attack will test our control and strategy." The team moved quickly. Sora issued commands to the Varelian guards and human soldiers. They set traps and barriers in key areas. Security cameras and sensors were linked to devices that could detect even the smallest fluctuations in energy. Lyra focused on the memory bloom. The golden light responded to her presence. She placed her hands near it, feeling the warmth flow through her body and into her seal. The cracks on her forehead pulsed with a controlled rhythm, no longer unstable. Elias observed closely. "The bloom responds to your focus. The intruders will have a harder time manipulating your energy now." Rin took a small energy baton and practiced defensive moves beside the guards. "I will help defend you, sister," he said, determination in his voice. Sora's eyes were sharp. "Do not underestimate them. They will not attack openly. They will use shadows, stealth, and devices. We must anticipate every move." Hours passed, with preparation and quiet tension. Then, in the middle of the station's busiest hour, the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed. Sensors detected multiple intruders moving through the maintenance shafts. The intruders were masked and armored, moving in perfect coordination. They appeared in groups at strategic points, testing defenses. It was not a chaotic assault. It was precise, calculated, and methodical. Lyra, Elias, Ryan, and Sora moved to the central command room. The memory bloom glowed brighter as Lyra focused on controlling her seal. She could feel the energy flowing through her, guided by the warmth of the plant. The intruders approached the observation deck where the princess had stood before. Sora and the guards formed a defensive line. The first group of attackers appeared, their devices attempting to read and manipulate Lyra's energy. Lyra closed her eyes. She felt the golden light in her forehead respond to the bloom. The energy from the plant intertwined with her seal, creating a protective barrier. The intruders' devices began to malfunction, unable to interface with the stabilized seal. Elias moved beside her, holding a device that amplified the bloom's energy. "Focus on the flow, Lyra. Guide it where you want it." She did as instructed. Warmth spread from the plant through her body, radiating outward. Golden light from the cracks on her forehead reached toward the attackers. They faltered, their steps uncertain. Their coordination began to fail. Sora advanced with precision. Her blade clashed against the first intruder. Sparks flew and the attackers were driven back into the shadows. The human guards used their devices to intercept the remaining intruders, forcing them into retreat. Ryan joined the defense, striking with his baton. The teamwork between Varelian guards and human soldiers was seamless. Each move of the intruders was countered with careful strategy and controlled energy. Lyra realized something important. Her seal was not just energy to be controlled. It was a weapon when guided by trust and courage. The golden cracks, once seen as weakness, had become a source of strength. After the intruders retreated, the station returned to normal security protocols. Lyra felt the pulse of her seal steady, guided, and calm. The memory bloom glowed softly beside her. a silent witness to her growing power. Elias looked at her. You see, you are not broken. You are stronger than before. Each challenge shows you more about yourself. Lyra nodded, a quiet smile forming. It is still difficult. Each day brings a new test, but I am learning.
Sora approached, and we will face each test together.
Corellians, humans, all of us. We defend you, Princess. You are not alone. Rin beamed. I am ready to fight. I am ready to learn. I will stand by you no matter what. The team understood one truth. Their victory was not just about defeating intruders. It was about understanding the seal's true potential, about learning to control it with focus, trust, and courage. Meanwhile, in the hidden corners of the station, Commander Drake observed silently. He had watched the intruders fail, the human strategy succeed, and Lyra's energy stabilize. He did not feel defeated. Instead, he felt curiosity. The princess and the humans had disrupted his carefully laid plans, forcing him to rethink his strategy. Lyra sat beside the memory bloom that night. The golden light pulsed softly in harmony with her heartbeat. She knew more attacks would come, more challenges would test her, but she also knew she had the ability to guide her own energy. She had allies who would stand by her, and most importantly, she had hope. The station remained calm for now, but the future was uncertain. Outside, the dying blue star flickered weakly. Inside, a small plant glowed steadily, a reminder that even the smallest and most fragile things could create strength that changed everything. Lumira's station was quiet in the early hours, but the calm was fragile. The attack from the previous night had shown that Commander Drake and his followers were still active. Lyra knew this was not the end. She had felt her seal grow stronger with each confrontation, yet the energy inside her demanded careful guidance. Elias stood beside her in the observation deck, his eyes scanning the readings from various devices. The memory bloom glowed warmly between them. Its light was soft but steady, reacting to Lyra's presence and emotional state. She placed her hands near it, feeling the warmth flow through her, synchronizing with the golden lines on her forehead. You are ready? Elias said quietly. The seal is stable now. Its energy will respond to your will. The next step is to confront the challenge directly. Rin, always close by, watch them. I will fight alongside you. I want to help protect you, sister. Captain Sora nodded. We will stand together, but be cautious. Drake is unpredictable. He does not attack openly. He will try to manipulate your seal in ways we cannot always anticipate. Lyra took a deep breath. She felt the golden energy pulse through her, steadying her nerves. The previous attacks had been tests. Drake wanted to see the limits of her seal and the bond with her allies. Now it was time to act with intention. In the central command room, Scholar Ivar analyzed energy patterns from the past attacks. The seal's energy interacts with the memory bloom in a unique way, he said. It stabilizes fluctuations, prevents external interference, and enhances control. This is more than protection. It is a new form of energy management. Lyra focused on these words. The bloom's light expanded gently, filling the room. Golden threads of energy from her seal intertwined with the plant's light, forming a protective aura. It hummed softly, resonating with every pulse of her heart. Suddenly, alarms rang again. Red lights flashed along the hallways. Sensors detected multiple intruders moving toward the station's core. This time they were more numerous, moving in coordinated groups with devices capable of sensing energy fields. Sora's voice was sharp. Positions! Defensive formations! Protect the princess! Ryan grabbed his energy baton and joined the human guards. Elias activated his devices to amplify the bloom's energy. The intruders approached the observation deck, but they encountered resistance at every point. The human and Varelian forces moved in perfect harmony, countering every move. Lyra closed her eyes. She let the warmth from the bloom flow into her seal. The golden cracks pulsed with controlled energy, extending outward like radiant threads. Each intruder's device malfunctioned, unable to read or manipulate the seal. The attackers faltered, their coordination breaking down under the golden light. Sora moved forward with precision, engaging the intruders directly. Sparks flew as energy blades clashed. Rhine struck beside her, blocking devices and disrupting formations. Elias guided Lyra, instructing her to channel her seal's energy to stabilize the defensive field. The memory bloom's light intertwined with Lyra's energy, creating a barrier that could not be bypassed. The attackers tried different tactics, but every attempt was neutralized. The seal responded instinctively, directed by Lyra's focus and the bloom's influence. Finally, the intruders retreated. Their devices left behind, their plan foiled, the station returned to comm security protocols, the golden energy of Lyra's seal steady and strong. She opened her eyes, feeling a newfound strength within her. "We did it," Ryan said, breathing heavily but smiling. Lyra looked at the memory bloom. "It is not just protection. It is power. And it responds to trust, not fear." Elias nodded. "Your seal is no longer broken. It has been reforged in action and trust. You are ready for the next step. Control it fully and use it to shape your future." The next day, Union leaders received reports of the failed attack. Admiral Torv, Scholar Ivar, and others began to understand that Lyra's energy was not a threat, but a potential asset. The human alliance had proven its value, and the memory bloom's influence had stabilized the previously unstable seal. Lyra trained with Elias, focusing on guiding the golden energy of her seal. Each exercise strengthened her control and her confidence. The cracks in her forehead no longer symbolized weakness. They were golden threads of power, connecting her to her own strength. Commander Drake observed these developments from the shadows. His plans had failed, but he did not give up. And he analyzed every detail, every energy fluctuation, searching for a new method to challenge Lyra. Yet the bond between the princess, the humans, and the Varelian guards had grown stronger. Drake would have to be careful. Lyra spent hours with the memory bloom, learning to harmonize her seal's energy with the plant. She understood that her true strength was not in avoiding attacks, but in using her energy intentionally, guided by trust, focus, and courage. Ryan continued training, learning from both human and Varelian techniques. Sora oversaw patrols and strategic defense. Together they formed a united front, ready for any threat. One evening, as the station floated silently above the dying star, Lyra looked at the memory bloom. Its light reflected in her golden cracks, creating a beautiful pattern of energy and hope. She understood now that the broken seal was not a mark of shame. It was a mark of survival, strength, and potential. With allies to guide and support her, she was prepared to face whatever the galaxy would throw next. The day ended with a quiet sense of victory. The seal was stable, the memory bloom glowing, and the station secure, for now. Yet Lyra knew that challenges would continue to come, but she was ready. The broken-sealed princess was no longer broken. She had been reforged, stronger than ever and ready to shape her own destiny. Lumira Station floated silently above the dying blue star, its corridors glowing faintly with the reflections of the star's light. Princess Lyra stood in the observation deck, the memory bloom before her pulsing steadily. Its golden light flowed along the cracks of her seal, now strong, radiant, and stable. She felt a sense of calm she had not known for months. Elias stood beside her, scanning energy readings. "The seal has fully stabilized," he said. "Your control is precise now. The bloom's energy harmonizes with your own. You are ready for anything." Ryan trained with the human cadets nearby, his energy baton slicing through practice dummies with precision. He glanced at his sister, admiration in his eyes. "I never thought I'd see the day you could control it like this." Captain Sora's face was serious, but relieved. "Control is only part of the challenge. Drake is still out there, still watching. We must anticipate his moves." Lyra nodded. She felt the golden threads of energy flowing from her seal, intertwining with the bloom's power. Each pulse of energy was steady, responsive to her thoughts and emotions. She realized now that the broken seal had become more than a symbol of her pain. It was a source of strength, a connection to those who trusted her. In the central command room, alarms suddenly echoed. Red lights flashed, indicating unauthorized activity in the outer docking bays. Sensors picked up multiple signatures, moving with speed and precision. Drake had chosen his next move. Sora immediately issued orders. "Positions, defensive formation. Protect the station and the princess." Lyra placed her hands near the memory bloom. The golden light responded to her focus, extending outward to cover nearby corridors. She felt the energy flowing through her, ready to act at her command. The first wave of intruders appeared in the docking bay. Masked and armored, they carried devices designed to interact with energy fields. Elias activated his equipment, amplifying the bloom's energy. The intruders' devices faltered under the combined force of the bloom and Lyra's stabilized seal. Sora engaged them directly, her blade clashing against energy weapons. Ryan struck with his baton, knocking away devices and disrupting formations. Every movement was synchronized, human and Varelian forces working as one. The intruders stumbled, their coordination breaking under the golden light. Lyra focused. She felt the energy of her seal flowing like rivers of light through her body, directed by her intention. The golden cracks pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, creating a protective field that repelled the intruders. Each attempt to manipulate her seal failed. Each attack was countered with precise force. Elias guided her, whispering instructions. Channel the energy to the points they target. Do not resist, but guide it. Control the flow. Let them see strength, not fear. The memory bloom glowed brighter, its golden light radiating across the bay. Intruders faltered, confused by the unexpected power and control. Sora and the guards pressed forward, driving them back. Rhine's strikes were precise and effective, supporting the team without hesitation. At the edge of the docking bay, a figure in dark armor observed. Commander Drake's eyes glinted beneath his mask. He had calculated every move, anticipated every defense. Yet he saw something unexpected. The seal, once broken, now fully controlled, radiating power and confidence. The memory bloom's influence had amplified Lyra's strength beyond his predictions. Drake remained in the shadows, silent and calculating. He knew the next attack would have to be different. Subtle, hidden, a challenge that could not be met with force alone. Yet for now, he retreated, leaving the intruders to fail and report back. Lyra lowered her hands. The golden light of her seal pulsed softly, steady and warm. She felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The trials, the attacks, the fear, they had all been steps toward mastery. Rhine approached her, smiling. You did it, sister. You controlled it. You faced them all and won. Lyra looked at the memory bloom. It was not just me. It was everyone who stood with me. Elias, Sora, Rhine, even the plant taught me patience and trust. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. Your seal is no longer broken. It is reforged, stronger than ever. The galaxy will see your power and your strength. Sora nodded. And we will be ready for whatever comes next. The princess is no longer alone. The broken-sealed princess has become a symbol of resilience. In the days that followed, reports of the failed attacks spread throughout the Union. The leaders began to see Lyra not as a liability, but as an asset. Her seal, once feared, was now recognized for its potential. Human and Varelian collaboration had proven that trust, courage, and determination could overcome fear and prejudice. Lyra continued to train with Elias and Sora, refining her control. Rhine practiced defensive and offensive strategies, learning to work with both human and Varelian techniques. The team became a cohesive unit, ready for any challenge. One evening, Lyra stood before the observation deck looking at the dying blue star. The memory bloom glowed steadily beside her. She placed her hand on it, feeling the warmth and energy flow through her. The golden cracks on her forehead reflected the light, a symbol of trials endured and strength gained. She thought of the past months, the attacks, the fear, the doubts. Each challenge had forged her. Each test had shown her the importance of trust, focus, and courage. The broken seal was no longer a mark of shame. It was a symbol of resilience, of potential realized, of power mastered. Commander Drake, hidden in the shadows, observed the station. He recognized the truth. Lyra's strength was now undeniable. The broken-sealed princess had risen, not just surviving, but mastering her power and uniting those around her. Lyra felt a deep sense of purpose. She was ready to face the galaxy, not with fear, but with strength, trust, and allies by her side. The memory bloom pulsed warmly, a reminder that even the smallest and most fragile things could inspire and create power. The day ended with a quiet victory, a calm moment of reflection. The station remained secure, the seal stabilized, and the golden light of the memory bloom shone brightly. Lyra, the broken-sealed princess, stood tall, ready to shape her own destiny. The galaxy would come to know her courage, her strength, and the power of trust.